The big story at Town Council's brief pre-holiday meeting this week was the province's announcement of a new $127 million hospital to be built in Neepawa over the next few years. Councillor Murray Parrott has been involved with the medical community in Neepawa for years and has been one of the people tirelessly working towards making this project happen. He takes the time to thank everyone who has been involved over the years in several different capacities, up to and including all of the previous councils, everyone working in healthcare, volunteers, and really just anyone who has put a hand in to make this project happen. Most people in town have likely heard by now that the new hospital is coming, but they may not be envisioning quite what it's going to look like. Councillor Parrott talks about the scope of the project, which is a facility meant to serve the entire region around Neepawa.
Okay, we are into council reports. Murray, would you like to go first?
Okay. We're getting a regional hospital. And I imagine that's old news now, but what I would like to do is to thank all the previous councils, staff, all the committees, all the volunteers, all the government officials who have been diligently working in the background to make this occur for the province. This isn't just a Neepawa entity, this is a provincial entity, it's a regional entity. There's been an awful lot of meetings, there's been a lot of work by the clinical staff here, the doctors, the provincial people have been coming out and interviewing managers and staff. They've been checking the data on ambulatory rates. They checked all different aspects, including the viability of all existing buildings, and using the plan that was first prepared by the NDP, the PCs created the Clinical and Preventative Services Plan, which was a nice thing to see one party using another party's work, which means we're working together as a province. Here in the town of Neepawa, we've always been working as a region, and we've been promoting ourselves as a region. Our doctors have been promoting themselves as a regional group, not just a Neepawa entity. Even our nurses have been working between the two communities, Minidosa and Neepawa, covering for each other to help our health system maintain its strength. So for all of the people who have been involved, it's not just a couple of people, it is a lot of people who have made this happen, and I just want to say a great thank you for that. That's my report.
That's pretty amazing, right? Did I hear you say with the doctor on that day when we were at that, it was 15 years in the making? Is that what?
When I came on council in 2010, the memorandum of understanding had already been signed by the councils of the day prior to that.
Yes, it
I
was
was thinking 2008, but that's just bad memory.
right.
2009? Okay, so 2009, and now the councils are now going to be sitting down with the province and going over all the particulars about how we are all going to be involved monetarily. We can expect that we all need to put money forward for this region. And it's not just about the hospital, it's about the plan for all facilities in the area. And when I talk about the area, I'm not talking about just Neepawa, I'm talking about extending out all the way around. And I believe Councillor Gerard will be further speaking on that kind of stuff.
And you'd be right, Councillor Gerard.
Yes, a number of years back, there was the Neepawa Hospital Fund that was created a number of years ago. The town has promoted it in newsletters, but there haven't been a lot of donations. The fund was set up actually at the suggestion of Liz Sumner, and she has donated consistently, but there have not been a lot of others. The donations are eligible for tax receipts, and just as a reminder for those that might be looking for tax deductions, they can be dropped off at the town office prior to the 31st to be eligible for the 2021 tax year. It's a good place for a community if they want to participate in the hospital. It's a great place where they can make a contribution and get a tax receipt.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Any other comments? Yeah, Councilor.
Councillor Gerard, how much do you have to donate in order to get a tax receipt?
$20 is the minimum for a tax receipt.
Oh yeah, one thing I forgot, I wasn't able to make the medical clinic committee, which is another big part of this whole thing.
Right.
And I'm sure Deputy Mayor Headley has his report ready.
Well, what I can tell you is that Mary Ellen Clark was submitting information to the banner on the results of the lottery. It was an extremely successful year, and the lottery did well. You know, the community, but also a lot of areas around Manitoba really helped out with that lottery. I think the other thing was that, you know, myself coming onto that committee a little bit later, I really congratulated them. Marie, I know you've been a big part of that committee as well. That group has done a fantastic job for quite a number of years. And I didn't realize, but I guess at one point it started with Country Meadows. And from there, once that got established, it moved on to the medical clinic. And I imagine we'll see the day that that continues on, you know, for support for the hospital. So certainly hats off to that group and the amount of work that's been done there.
Okay, thank you. Any other?
Councillor Pudlow gets the fun job of announcing that Santa Claus will be touring the town on a fire truck this week. And we managed to get a little glimpse of him as he passed by the NAC TV studio.
Councilor Putnam.
Santa Claus is coming to town this Thursday, December 23rd. He's going to be beginning his tour at Country Meadows at 1 o'clock, and he's going to be making his way up and down the streets throughout Neepawa. Hopefully people are going to have an opportunity to step outside, and if you've got any noisemakers, wave hello, say hello to Santa. He's going to be going with our fire chief, Eve Gillis, and he's going to be making a tour around in the fire truck. The Town of Neepawa Facebook is going to be a really great place to check. There's going to be updated live where he's at the present time, and postings are going to be made as he's moving throughout the town. So hopefully everybody's going to be able to get out this Thursday, December 23rd.
We've had a couple of councillors lately talk about the county courthouse, which is jointly funded between Neepawa, Rosedale, and North Cypress Langford. The courthouse was last renovated in the 80s and is in need of some upgrades, including an elevator to access the second floor. We discussed that a bit in this month's council checkup with Mayor McCutcheon, which you can find elsewhere in the schedule. At the council meeting, however, Councillor Gerard is looking at some basic operations and general maintenance at the courthouse.
Last Wednesday, that would be December the 15th, the county courthouse had a meeting and we were reviewing some operation changes that are going to be occurring at the county courthouse. The cleaning contract, the existing people are retiring at the end of this year, so that contract will be tendered. You will see an ad hit the paper. This week will be in the banner, and I know it's closing in the middle of January. We do have an interim cleaner in the short term, but we will be seeking new people to take over maintenance inside that facility. So, and then we reviewed where things are at with the roof repairs that need to occur there. And one of the issues we were having right now, it was getting supplied on some of the materials that were needed so we can do a repair in winter. It's unfortunate that it got to that point, but that's where we're at as of today.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Just a question, how is the courthouse funded?
The county courthouse? The county courthouse is actually funded as a matter of partnerships between the town of Neepawa, Rosedale, and Langford, North Cyprus. And currently, Neepawa will contribute 50% of those funds, which we contributed within our budget year, and the remaining RMs contribute 25% each of that. Now, there used to be 4 partners involved there, but Lansdowne at the time did remove themselves from the county courthouse a number of years ago. So,
Despite the fact that we are well into winter now, work is continuing out at Park Lake, which was badly damaged by flooding in 2020. Denise Saquet reports on the status of that work, and as well he talks about the new recycling containers that have been distributed and continue to be distributed in the community for household use. CAO Colleen Sinchishin also talks about recycling, specifically about the money the town gets back based on the quantity of recycling that we do. So many residents may not realize that recycling is not just an environmentally sound thing to do, but results in real dollars coming into the community, tens of thousands of them. The money received is based directly on the volume of recycled materials, and loads of recycling that are contaminated by household waste do not add to this total. So even if you're a recycling skeptic, there is concrete financial value in recycling responsibly.
There's no other reports, we'll move on to the manager of operations, Denise.
Thank you very much. So, not too much happening, but I'll just give you some updates on some of the projects. So, Park Lake, as quiet as it is, work is continuing on that project. We actually have some tenders closing tomorrow for the rock supply and for the scrubbing of any vegetation we have to remove for the upcoming earthworks. So that work will commence right away once the award has been granted. So they'll do all winter hauling for stone riprap and get that inside the lake bed right now. And the flats, skid rink is now open. Staff have got enough ice on that one. They're still working on the curl. Hopefully with the wood being so cold, that shouldn't take long for the ice to build up now. It's mild weather. Residents may have noticed, we did do a Facebook post, that staff have been dropping off smaller recycling containers to all the households. So all single-family households are eligible for that. So recycling work, those are granted to us free, and they're being dropped off. So residents just have to be patient. Just because one says street cut doesn't mean they say that same day. Like they're just doing runs up and down and checking when they saw. So if anyone is missed, don't call a day from now. Call. Give it a little time because they're still working their way through and doing their roads.
Could you explain the purpose behind these little blue boxes, how they're to be used in conjunction with the current large blue containers?
So these ones were funded to recycle everywhere, so that's the beverage container industry in Manitoba. So any pop can, pop bottle, water bottle, anything like that, you pay a levy, so that levy is collected and it funds this program. So we like taking advantage of it because all of our tax dollars we're spending on the deposit anyway. So these are for in your household, so you can have an easy means to recycle containers if your garbage carts are outside, which most of them aren't, because I mean people that have them inside the garage. At least that way you could carry a small little recycling and dump it in there. So it doesn't have to be bagged, just ensure that the material is rinsed out properly. No full containers. Remind that water bottles, pop bottles, they have to be emptied before they go in containers, in the larger containers.
So to clarify that, you're not wanting to see these little blue boxes set out on the curb?
If residents decide to use them for glass pickup day, that's acceptable, but yeah, they're encouraged to be used for in the household for beverage containers.
Okay, we will move on to correspondence. Multi-materials Stewardship Manitoba, Colleen.
So more recycling discussion.
Okay.
This is for 2022, just a heads up. The funding that comes to the municipalities on a quarterly basis and 4 equal payments. The methodology for getting the funding under Multi-Material Stewardship Manitoba is calculated each year based on the median 3-year rolling average net costs for each municipal program by population group. The basis for the payment to each municipality is calculated using the number of tons and cost data in the most recently completed cost monitoring survey. So for 2022, the town will be receiving $82,592.54, and this represents 227 tons of recyclable material, including eligible cardboard, at a rate of $382.04 per ton. This does not include the portion owed from newspaper stewards. In a previous meeting, I spoke about the in-kind advertising that would be given in place of what comes from the newspaper recycling. And for the year 2022, in addition to the number we were given before since 2017 to get that caught up to date, there's going to be an additional $4,104.34.
Okay, thank you.
Does that represent about a $10,000 increase from what we received last year as far as from, I'm not
I
seeing?
meant to check that number there. I did not do that.
Yeah, I remember we were about that 75 or 76,000, so that means we are seeing an increase in recycling making there. And if we can clean up our recycling a bit more, we can see
Yeah.
less, we can get more back to the town, so it's a huge contributor to the bottom line of the community, the recycling.
Town financial reports don't usually need a lot of comment, but this week they discuss what happens when there are utility bills outstanding at the end of the year and how there is a procedure in place to add the outstanding amounts to property taxes. They also talk about the interim budget, which is a necessary step between the end of the year and the approval of the new budget, which usually happens in April, to allow the town to keep operating without interruption.
Okay, Colleen, we're into outstanding utility accounts.
So it's not just utility, this is clearly just a matter of time away from the closing of another calendar year. We like to clean up any accounts that either utility or accounts receivable that have been outstanding on our books. We also have 3 particular accounts that are not from citizens that actually live in Neepawa. So basically what we're recommending is the addition to taxes as we're allowed under the Municipal Act to do so, outstanding utilities and accounts receivable. And for those 3 accounts that we cannot add them to property taxes because they do not own property in Neepawa, we're actually requesting them to be written off the books and cleaned out of the AR for prior audit, basically.
Okay, we're going to look at approving an interim operating budget, Colleen.
So this is just an annual resolution, so because once again it is almost the close of the year and your budget will be expiring and we'll be concluding that, closing it up. The ability to operate to the passing of the new one in April, Mayish, when our bylaw goes through, you have to set aside provisions for amounts of money that you can still function and operate till then. So our Director of Finance has established those numbers and I'm here to read them out.
Okay, we'll move forward with that resolution. Moved by Kostenchuk, seconded by Deputy Mayor Headley. Be it resolved that in accordance with Section 163 of the Municipal Act, the Council of the Town of Neepawa has made provisional estimates of operating and capital expenditures of the municipality for the period from January 1st, 2022 until the adoption of the annual estimates. That now therefore be it resolved that these provisional estimates be hereby adopted. General Government Services, $410,000. Protective Services, $300,000. Transportation Services, $396,950. Environmental Health Services, $172,000. Environmental Development Services, $20,000. Public Health and Welfare Services, $194,700. Economic Development Services, $80,405. Recreational and Cultural Services, $120,000. Fiscal Services, $85,180, for a total of $1,779,235. And also the total utility operating requirements, $600,000. General capital requirements, $415,000, and utility capital requirements, $400,000. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the council has discussed that we were going to have a meeting on January the 4th, but I mean that's coming right after Christmas, it's coming right after a long weekend of January the 1st, so we have made the decision to cancel that meeting and we will just be having the one meeting in January on January the 18th. I think we're all comfortable with that unless there's any questions. Okay, so we will move forward with that motion. Moved by Councilor Perry. Second by Councilor Nadeau. Be it resolved that we hereby cancel the regular meeting of council for January 4th, 2022. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have a new or permanent animal control officer, Denis.
Yes, so, first I'd like to thank Jake for his many years of service. He's been fantastic. Sprayed a few skunks and bitten a few dogs. Chad Campbell has stepped up and agreed to fill his role, so we're excited about that. So this will just be the appointment of Chad to be our animal control. Chad has been working with us for a couple of years now. He's been doing beaver control and this year, and I think he's been kind of shadowing Jake for a number of years as well. So he's no stranger, and he's already been showing some of his duties and understanding very well. So I'm very confident he'll be competent in his role.
Okay, perfect. Any comments? Okay, we'll move forward with that resolution. Moved by Councilor Gerard, seconded by Councilor Courthouse. Be it resolved that the Council of Town Neepawa authorize the Mayor and Chief Administrative Officer to sign the attached agreement with Chad Campbell to provide animal control services for the Town of Neepawa from January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we have a lease renewal with Neepawa Planning District. Colleen?
So this is a triennial lease agreement, and the current lease we have with Neepawa Area Planning District expires on the December 31st of this year, and we're proposing based on just what we've seen for increase in hydro rates and water and whatnot, $20 a month increase, so it'll be $582 including GST per month. So we're asking for your support.
Okay, yeah, Councilor. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, yeah, we'll move forward with that resolution. Moved by Councilor Barrett, seconded by Councilor Kostenchek. Be it resolved that we approve an office space lease renewal for the Neepawa Area Planning District for the term of January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2024 in the amount of $582, including GST per month. All in favor? Okay, carried. Okay, Colleen, enumeration of personnel 2021 to 2024.
So just very quickly, adding a little bit to the HR meeting that Councilor Gerard referenced earlier. We won't be disclosing anything in particular related to personal information, but just to summarize, in 2017, Council actually approved the first formal process that the Town of Neepawa would have for actually how positions are classified in Town of Neepawa, how pay gets adjusted, and we basically took on the union and non-employees and created a platform that would see equity and fairness across the board. So at the end of December last year, the collective agreement for the union employees actually expired. So we finally, as of November 2nd, were able to conclude the negotiations, and people are saying, oh, a whole year. Yes, technically it took a long time to conclude them, but with COVID there was many delays in us being able to get to the bargaining table with the representatives from QP National. So anyway, here we are, November 2nd, almost a year later. We were able to, on December 7th, actually conclude the final wording of the collective agreement. Linked in with that, though, looking at fairness and equity and treating all employees as one, whether they're union or not. The non-union employees were also measured in looking at industry standards and market. And recently met with the HR committee. We proposed what the collective agreement came in at, and also what was recommended for pay adjustments for some of the positions that were deemed out of scope and out of market variables. So if there's a support of council based on what we understood was presented, we're asking support to ratify the collective agreement once we get the final document in hand. Nice to clean it up before year end, because clearly we'll have some retro pay adjustments to make back to January 1st and get everything into the books for 2021 and move forward for a 4-year term. So when we negotiate now, we don't just come annually every year to council and look for an increase or an adjustment. We negotiate, and people know from here on in what they're going to get paid, and it provides a lot of peace. The morale is good for staff, I think, knowing where you're at and what you can expect, and it's proven very successful, this being the second roundabout now with that structure. So.
Okay, any questions, any comments? Okay, we will move forward with that resolution. Moved by Deputy Mayor Henry, seconded by Councilor Perry. Be it resolved that upon receipt and validation of all terms negotiated as part of the collective bargaining for a period of January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2024, the Council of Town of Neepawa authorized the Mayor and CEO to sign the agreement with QP Local 1735-01. Be it further resolved that the pay rates so negotiated also apply to the non-unionized employees, taking into consideration special adjustments to certain positions and classifications to ensure a fair and equitable pay structure. All in favor? Carried. Okay, I guess we're down to other business for the last time in 2021. Anybody have any? Outside the door?
Yeah, this is our last meeting of the year, so I just wanted to remind residents that our community grant program is coming due December 31st. Last year we did give an extension. This year it is due on the 31st. So whether you're applying for a grant or you're reporting on a grant, even if you're not applying, it is due before the 31st where you have to do your report. If you don't submit your report, then you may not be receiving another grant in the future. So you definitely want to make sure you're following all the rules in order to be successful in the future or currently.
Thank you. Anybody else? I guess I'd just like to take a moment and just say, it's been a challenging year, right? I mean, the pandemic's still with us, but I mean, we seem to have all adapted to it. I think we all understand how now, what we have to do to kind of negotiate around it. I just want to say, you know what, in spite of the pandemic, this council and our administration, I mean, we've done a lot in this town this year. I mean, it's really remarkable how much has been going on in our town for the last year. I mean, we have an RCMP building going underway, we have a water reservoir, we're still working on the lagoons, we've got the CN property up and running. We've done some work on the streets, and of course the most perfect thing happened a couple of weeks ago when the new hospital was announced. So I mean, it's just amazing what this town has done over the last year. And I just look forward to 2022, not for the pandemic, but for all the other great things that we're going to do. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to all of you and to our community and to our administration. So thanks.
You can view end-to-end coverage of the Town Council meeting elsewhere in the NACTV schedule, including immediately following this. We welcome your feedback on this program, and if you have questions or items that you'd like to see clarified or discussed, you can reach us at 204-476-2639 or by email at nactvnews@gmail.com. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.